Hello everybody, welcome to Circuit Simon Says. Today I am going to be taking a look at my Policar 412P. This was ran in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1967, and yeah, just something a little bit different for you today. So I've been reviewing mostly the Carrera cars, and I just thought I'd show you something a little bit different. So this car in the US is an analog car, so it's got no digital chip, and this retails for $59, and there aren't any working headlights and there's no working brake lights. So $59, whereas I believe the analog car, the equivalent Carrera, runs at about $44, $45, and the digital is $55 to $60. So they're either a similar price or this is a little bit more expensive. Now we'll have a look into the whys or maybes that can be justified. So when you get this car, you get a bag of bits. I have on this particular one, I've switched out some of the bits already. It comes installed with plastic wheels, but it comes with trued and turned aluminium wheels, so I have switched those out. It comes with a little clamp there for the various digital chips should you wish to install one, and that is possible. So I've got the aluminium wheels in here with the inserts for the spokes. The wheels and the tyres are printed very nice. This car has got a few laps, like my others. I've got some rubbing going on the corners. This is a very light bodied car, and it feels very much more flimsy than the sturdy injection molded, I think they're at least injection molded, Carrera bodies. This is feeling maybe it might be even more vacuum formed. I'm not entirely sure, but it's definitely a lot thinner. And in the production, you know, the body doesn't quite fit the chassis. And I still get this with the Policar and slottic chassis as well. They can come a little bit warped. And there are instructions for flattening it, and I'm experiencing issues with a different car trying to get my chassis flat enough to run on the track. So bear that in mind. The ones they may run, they'll probably run out of the box pretty dang well, but you may get the odd problem child with them. So what is different? Well, this one, unfortunately, I've had to get a new guide. So I was running this without the magnet in it, and I find that maybe it's the weight distribution with the motor. It's a sidewinder motor here, and the motor is all the way at the back, that it whips around in corners very, very quickly without the magnet in, and I broke the guide. There is supposed to be a front on there where the wires come in. I've had to replace it. So I don't know if it was the plastic was brittle or not, but yeah, the car just whipped around and jammed in the slot and took the front of the guide off. So this is an aftermarket guide, and I went with the Slot Invasion one because they seem to get good reviews. So I'm hoping it doesn't happen with that. So one of the major differences is, we'll get to talking about this, but this pod. But let's compare this particular car to the Carrera. Let's go side by side through the differences. So the body is a lot thinner and it's a lot lighter than the Carreras. This particular car, the wheelbase is a lot shorter, and the guide to rear wheel is a lot smaller. If you overlay the footprint on the width, You can see over this side I've got the wheels lined up, and on the opposite side there, the Carrera BMW M4 is significantly wider as well. It's longer and it's quite a bit heavier. The Carrera comes with a digital chip or an analog chip. In my case, I've got the digital chip. It comes with 2 magnets. The Policar, it comes with 1. The Policar comes with aluminium wheels and brass bushings. The Carrera car comes with brass bushings but plastic wheels all around. And the Policar tyres are actually a lot softer and a lot grippier on the circuit. So yeah, lighter body, lighter chassis, stickier tyres, heavier body, much more durable body, and meant for digital racing. This body will take a beating. This body feels like it won't, so this is one of the reasons why I took the magnet out. With the magnet in, this car runs very, very fast. And I had the magnet when I was running quick in this position, middle position. There are clips to clip the magnet in one of these 3 positions, but I was running it in the middle position. I could have run it directly under the axle. I would have probably have gotten quicker as well. But yeah, these with digital, your cars are going to come together a lot more. These bodies will survive. These, if you were digitizing it, I just fear that you'll crash the cars into one another much more often, and the lightweight bodies will get cracked probably a lot more easily. So there are some pros and cons to having a lighter body. These also come with a 21,000 RPM motor versus the Carrera I think is an 18,000 RPM. So we've got a lighter body, a lighter chassis, sticky tyres, a layout which puts a lot of the weight on the back, especially when you put the magnet on it. This is a rapid car, very, very rapid. You can also somewhat have a free floating axle because this body is in 2 parts. You've got the the chassis. You've got the outer chassis here, and then you've got this floating pod, or this pod that you can make float, and you can make subtle adjustments to the ride height too. If you loosen it, it allows the wheel and the motor to ride further into the body and reduce the ride height of the body, so you can lower the center of mass. I've got mine at about 0.5 millimeter drop. If I go much more than that, I'm rubbing the body on the rails, because the rails on the Carrera track stick proud of the surrounding plastic. So yeah, it's a very nice car. You don't quite get, I guess, as much car. The printing on this is still very nice, but you just get something different. That's what I'll call it. It's a different driving experience, and I like to drive these without the magnets because the drifting is so controllable and it's very, very nice. I've made it a little bit less twitchy than it was without any magnets and no added weight. I did the same as I did with my Ford Escort. I added a little bit of weight in the middle. So let me just quickly pull the top off and I will show you inside. Okay, so here we are inside. So side-wider motor, 21k RPM. There's no adjustability here. The gear mesh is fine though, out of the box. You've got the center floating pod there. And yeah, you've got your guide on the front, in which case mine's the aftermarket one. The chassis is molded in such a way, let me move the wires out of the way, so that it is pre-drilled here for either Carrera or Scalextric digital chips. You would just have to cut out this little square here, or maybe not, but anyway, it's pre-drilled to locate the digital LEDs, especially, you know, Policar Slot It have their own Carrera chip decoder, so that should just fit in there nicely. So you can digitize these. You've got screws underneath here, which you can adjust the ride height with. Yeah, it's a very nice, it's a very light car. You're getting less car for your money, which means you're getting a lighter car for your money. And this is much more race focused. The body, as I was saying, it's super light. It's definitely not as robust as a Carrera car. So, you know, probably better to run this as an analog car. On the magnet Marshall, on my magnet tool, really, this was having about 50 grams of downforce. And yeah, I'm going to run it around the track. I'll show you the times with and without magnets, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'll give you my final thoughts on it. It's a pretty car. Okay, so Circuit Simon Says with the Policar 412P. I'll do a couple of laps and then I'll bring it back to the table. It runs super quiet, and that's one of the things. It's quieter than a lot of the cars, and with the magnet out, I just enjoy being able to sort of control the drifts, and it's very satisfying to drive and do that versus you know, the Carreras that have been running with the full magnets in. Sure, you can go a lot faster with the magnets in. You know, it just gives you a different kind of driving experience without them. So if you're on the fence about pulling magnets out, it's worth experimenting, pulling the magnets out and putting stickier tyres on and playing with weight balance. It's such a rewarding car to drive. Now, let me do this, finish off this last lap and I'll bring it back to the table. Oh, so we're back at the table. So this is the leaderboard. I didn't get a picture for the with mag time. But with the mag, in the center position, it's a 5.6 second lap. That's in the center, so it's not directly under the axle. This is just a hair slower than the Carrera Porsche, and more than half a second faster than the BMW there. Without the magnet though, it's still a pretty quick car. It's running right around 7 and a bit seconds, which is right around the same time as the Revo slot Ford Escort. So yeah, it's a nice running car. Without the magnet, it's a super nice car to drive. With the magnet, it's a little bit hairy to drive, just because I don't really want to be smashing it up. It's a beautiful looking car, and I got this car because I love the Ford GT40 and I plan on getting one of those, and I needed a running mate. So yeah, very pretty, good looking car. Runs very, very well, and I really love how it drives without the magnets in. Yeah, brilliant little car. So if you haven't got an analog car from another brand other than Carrera, you know, it's worth, I think, experimenting and seeing what these drive like, because on the face value, you know, 10 to $15 more, and you don't get a digital chip, and they feel thinner, maybe, and more fragile, but they offer such a different driving experience that if you haven't tried one, it's definitely worth trying a non-Carrera brand car, just to get an appreciation for the different driving style. Like I said, I've removed the magnets. With the magnet in, it's very sharp, very rapid, and I'm worried I'm going to crash it hard and fracture the body. Without the magnet though, you're driving it slower and you're drifting more, and it's very controllable, very satisfying experience. So there you go. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.